Yes!
Yes!
Yeah, great. A little bit of enthusiasm. Welcome back to the Luke Kidgell Hour, everybody. But first, it is time to groove. Didn't tell you about this part.
Do I do this?
Yeah, of course. First guest
I
we've had
was not
since-
warned about that.
No, we don't have guests too much. I'm not really used to having groove partners, but it's great to have you. Guys and girls, welcome to the Luke Kidgell Hour. We are joined today by Jaryd Clifford, Paralympian, world record holder, and I'm going to go out and say it, all-round top bloke. Oh, I forgot to turn the light on. Jesus. Oh, good.
Jeez, that's
we're
bright.
lit much better. Yeah, mate. This is show business. Get used to it.
That was a
all
good
right?
intro.
You're going to be a goddamn star. Yeah, it was a good intro, but it was poorly lit. Wasn't it? All right, before we start the hour, we have a starting buzzer noise, which is sent in by listeners. This one's sent in by Asher.
Yeah.
You can send them in at luke.kidgell. Wait, what is it? Luke Kidgell Podcast at gmail.com. All right. This is from Asher to start the podcast in 3, 2, 1.
Hooly dooly!
Not bad.
Nice.
Very nice. That's one of my lesser known catchphrases, if you don't know.
No, I know the hooly dooly one.
Yeah. Jaryd, welcome to the podcast.
No, thanks for having me. It's an honour to be here. We've been trying to organise this for a while.
For about 3 years since you came on episode 4 of this podcast.
We did it though.
Yes, we did it. I'm just going to turn us down a little bit.
I nearly didn't make it though.
We also forgot to do a sound check. So if that audio was excruciatingly high for about a minute, so I apologise. Mate, it's great to have you on. You've been crushing it. So for long-time listeners of the podcast, and we're talking long time, you're on episode 4.
Yeah. I thought it was episode 3, but...
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was episode 4.
It was episode 4?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good memory. Did you memorize?
No, I think I just...
not.
Man, I listened to it back about a month ago because I knew I was going to have you on soon because we were talking about it.
You didn't, did you?
Dude, it was... Not you. I am painful to listen to.
I've never wanted to listen. I was saying I never wanted to listen to that back.
Dude, I'm so bad.
Cringe.
I'm so bad at English. I mean, still, nothing's changed, but at least I'm more confident.
Confidence is...
Yeah.
You know.
Imagine like my lack of English abilities with zero confidence. So don't even bother listening to the first time. Just listen to this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, you explain what you do to everyone who may not know.
Yeah, so I'm a runner, a Paralympian. I'm visually impaired. That's what gets me into the Paralympics, I guess. That's my disability. And I run the 1,500 metres, the 5,000 metres at that level. And yeah, I haven't done a marathon yet, but that's kind of what I'm looking towards.
You're going to do a marathon?
Maybe.
Dude, it's so long.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was, it sounded really good when I was about 18.
Yeah.
And then as I get closer to actually maybe being able to do one, it's like,
well, because it's going to stamp out pretty much 6 months of your year doing one properly. Because you have to train. People who don't know, marathon training is like a different beast to other running training, right?
Yeah.
Although you do marathon training essentially.
Yeah. I mean, I've run 50Ks before, just not in a race. And a marathon's 42.
One time I was looking at your Strava, which is like running social media. It's so lame. But
It's good.
I mean, as someone who's a part of normal people and the running community, it's pretty lame. As an outsider,
I got a few followers on there.
I know.
Yeah.
You are popping on Strava.
People love Strava.
Oh, they do. People always message me like, bro, I want to track your world gym sessions. Where can I follow you on Strava? And I'm like, I don't want to tell you guys where I live because like the privacy zone is not private enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, you ran every single street in our area. Like, so you went around one suburb of near where we live. Was it Greensborough in Melbourne?
Yeah, Green Hill, St. Helena for people that know. But yeah, Greensborough.
And he wanted to run every single street, and you look at the map and he just goes up every court, then runs back down every court, and it's 50 kilometers.
Hang on, there's a lot. All right, there's a bit of context. This is like, it was actually a year ago last week. So COVID was
COVID, boredom.
The first kind of lockdown had started. The Paralympics had been postponed, and I was pretty certain they'd get cancelled.
Yeah.
So I was in a weird spot mentally. You train 4 years, maybe your whole life for that, and I was like, I'm just gonna do something real dumb. And
yeah, but
I thought it was
how much of a
30K.
good person you are and like how positive you are. You channeled your breakdown into like something positive, which is like running 50 kilometers.
Yeah, it hurt though. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of like it's like acceptable self harm. Like
Yeah, I mean, I just
running, it hurts, man. Like,
I was just drunk for 9 months last year. So, I mean, I had like 50 beers and you had like 50 Ks. But I think what you did was much more positive.
Yeah, I mean, see, this is the thing though. I didn't actually set out with thinking that would be 50K. I thought it would be 30K, 35K, which is still would have been my longest run ever at the time. And then I kind of got to 35K. I'm like, oh, I reckon there's still only about 5K. I was trying to remember all the streets I still had to go. Got to the marathon point and I'm like, all right, there's only 2K to go. And there was still another 8Ks.
How old was it? Like 52 or something?
No, it was
53.
50, but I hit the marathon thinking I'm about to
Oh, yeah,
finish.
marathon's 42.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking marathon was 45.
And it's like poured down about the 35K mark. And honestly, I was regretting it so. But then if you can't pull out halfway through because then it's pretty obvious what you've attempted to do. Because
Yes.
the map will look like you've done half
I mean,
of it.
again, like this is how dedicated you are to like. I think this is one of the reasons why you're so successful is because you just don't quit. Like, I would just get halfway and be like, "Oh, people like get the gist," and then I just like move on.
Man, people were really, they really examined it though. There was like these 2 streets that show up on maps that don't actually exist in real life. It's just a paddock.
Oh right,
And I was getting called out for that. And they were like, nah, it doesn't count. And
it's like, cool, man.
They were joking, but I was like...
You're like, I'm not going to risk getting bitten by a brown snake just to finish the map off through a paddock. That's ridiculous.
To be honest, I was mad I didn't get it done on the... Oh, it does look a bit, annoying.
Yeah, well, next time run through the paddock, all right? Jeez.
I was disappointed.
You're weak. Now, guys, if you can't tell, Jaryd and I are very good friends, and that's why that is only slightly inappropriate of me to say. We've been friends since high school. You went to my high school.
Yeah, I would have been probably year 7. That there's a race actually, probably the first time I met.
We can retell the story.
Yeah.
We told on the first one, but we have to for any new listeners. The first time I met Jaryd, I heard him but didn't see him. So we're running in a 3-kilometer race at Meadow Glen. It's in Epping. And I was crushing it because I was a great runner, right? And I was the 3K. I was coming second to Dean, who was my other mate. He's very good at running. Yeah. And I was coming second and we were year 10s. And then I was like, we were running against all the year 7s. But I don't know if you've ever been a year 10 running against a child, but you're like, does not pose a threat.
I was probably one of the smaller kids in year 7
and
too.
you in year, I mean, you're quite small now. You in year 7, you were like just fun sized. You were a little, and you could snap you. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then I just hear like this pitter patter of footsteps and like just next to me. And I look across and I go, oh, that's weird. I didn't see anything. And then you just were in front of me. Like as I looked back, I was like, because you were like on a different level. I looked across horizontally. You were down there. Didn't see you. I looked back and then you were in front of me and I went, what is happening? And I got overtaken by year 7 in front of the whole school.
Yeah.
Brutal.
It was, and I think people made a big deal out of it too. I actually felt bad for you. I didn't know at the time. I felt bad. I was like, I've just ruined this guy's
still should
career.
feel bad.
Yeah.
And look at you and look at me. I mean, that was the day the tables turned and they never got back on my side.
So, I mean, you gave up on your running, your
Right
running
then.
dream. And so basically that race led you to be a comedian.
Really, that was the origin story of why I do this podcast.
I'm trying to clutch at straws with that claim, but
No, it's true.
I'd like to be a part of it,
No, I never wanted to be a professional runner. You know why? Because it's what
There's
you
a
do
few
is
reasons.
very hard.
I see that. People go, why running? I
But
go,
you do it.
Yeah, but it's when you can't see that well, there's a lot of sports that it's, I couldn't have played footy. I mean, I probably couldn't have played footy anyway.
I watched you play footy up until under 16s. You're incredibly good at it. But sometimes we played for the same club and they used to play before me. Yeah. And I knew Jaryd from running. So I used to go out there and watch him before our games sometimes. Mate, I've never seen someone with more determination to get the ball, but also they don't know where the ball is.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, he was just like out there like sniffing it out, like I sense ball, and you'd run at it, and I was like, almost.
No, I had to play on ball in the center of the ground because if I didn't get the ball straight away,
you'd lose
Where
it.
was it?
Yeah.
Like I'd have to at least have seen where the kicker kicked it like that.
Your teammates were great. They'd be like, Jaryd, over there. And you're like, run into it. You're such an inspiration, like the way you don't let your vision impairment impair you, really. Like obviously there's to a point where it does obviously stop you.
Yeah.
But you really don't let it. Like that's why I think I always forget. Like we're friends, we go out a bunch. Like the other night, man, I just say rude stuff accidentally. Just before we started this podcast, you're going back to Canberra tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, there's quite expensive flights. Like I booked it last minute. And I go, why didn't you drive? Idiot.
You definitely don't want me driving.
Yeah. And then as soon as I said it, I went, I know why you don't drive. And I'm sorry.
That's the most classic, the driving one though, for sure.
Yeah, your sister burns you about that.
Yeah. Oh, so my sister's about 4 years younger than me. She's she's turning 18 in a couple of months early next year, and she's already going, oh man, it's embarrassing that you're going to be asking your little sister for lifts everywhere. And that was this morning. Like,
so rude. It's like it's not my fault. It's genetic.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to do? And also, bit rude because she copped, let's be honest, pretty lucky genes because that could have been her.
Yeah, it's 50-50, man. Like, I mean, credit though. It's a hot diss. I'd probably say it as well.
Yeah. Oh, we have a sound effect in this podcast for that. Oh no, wrong one. Damn it. All right, hang on.
Epic.
It's an epic burn.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'll be honest, not our best sound effect, that one. So yeah, the other night we were out for my birthday, and thank you very much for
oh man, I had a blast.
Staying late. We went to a karaoke bar. One of my favorite Jaryd moments of all time. On a night out, you got to kind of get around him. Otherwise, you'll quite literally get lost.
Yeah, I've got a story even before the karaoke bar about getting lost.
Because you're like blind, but then if you have a few beers, imagine being double blind.
Oh yeah,
right?
It's a thing. It gets
So he's like 100% blind at this point, 200% blind actually.
And it's dark, crowd. Everyone looks the same.
Yeah, this guy walks out of the toilet, right? And we're with like Frenchie and my brother, like our group, Keelan and stuff like that. No, this was at the karaoke bar after. And this guy was kind of longer hair, comes over. Jaryd runs up to him, goes, and gives him a noogie, just like, you bloody legend, or says something like that, like just getting around him on the dance floor, like,
Yeah.
And then this guy looks at him like, what are you doing? Who are you? And then Frenchie taps Jaryd on the shoulder and goes, hey, mate, he's not one of us. We don't know him.
I reckon I would have thought it was either you or Jack or someone.
Maybe. I think you were like trying to get around the birthday boy, but I was like on the stage singing Aerosmith at the time.
Well, there was another moment at the place where your comedy festival is.
Yeah.
You guys all of a sudden like just left, and I was still standing at the pool table, and I just look around. And I'm like, geez, it's gotten real quiet. And I kind of walked around the perimeter trekking, like, I remembered where Jack had been sitting. He's not there. And I'm like, geez, I reckon they're gone. And then Jack just runs up the stairs.
You want to know the discussion? We were at the front and I go, where's Jaryd? And then Jack goes, oh shit. And then Jack runs up the stairs. I'm like, you need to go get him, dude. If no one told him we're leaving, he's not going to see us go. No. So it's just one of those things where, because you or always like never letting it get in your way.
Nah.
We all forget.
Yeah.
Like, because you just always been my mate Jaryd. You've never been like, oh, Jaryd who's vision impaired. You're just like, Jaryd's here, like what a legend. You're always like getting amongst everything that we all do. So when we all leave the pub, we all go, why isn't Jaryd here? And then we're all like, oh guys, Jaryd didn't literally see us leave. So,
well, yeah, no, that's the thing. You got it though, don't you?
Yeah, and you're such a good sport about it as well.
Oh, there's a lot of moments. You got to laugh though, otherwise it just gets like, well, it doesn't, but.
Well, that was one of the questions. I don't know if you feel comfortable answering it, but we asked for questions on the Instagrams, and someone said, it's a very rude question, whoever's asked this. It's from Paul. What is the best joke about being blind that you've ever heard?
There's a lot, which I don't know what
Most
that's.
Of them would be uncreative.
Yeah, they are.
Most
They're
of them
pretty.
Like Lewis gets them about being tall. Like, do you play basketball? Cool.
Man, I don't know. Like the most classic, and it's pretty bad. Like it's bad, but people.
Yeah,
they'll be like, a joke will get said like a driving one, an already pretty normal gag.
Yeah.
And then, oh, you didn't see that one coming, did you?
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's a classic.
It's actually funnier when the person doesn't know me and they've just pulled that out and then they realize what they've said and they go, oh, shit.
Do you know how many times I've done that to you, like growing up?
That's
like,
the funniest part.
I know it's everyone does it to you. Like I've seen it happen so many times where we'll be like, we used to train together all the time and we'd be like running along and I'm just like, Jaryd, why didn't you move? Like you got in that guy's. I'm like, literally, and I was just like, why didn't you see him? And I'll be like, because of yeah, my bad.
But the funniest thing is when people realize. But then some people they actually feel really bad, and no matter how much you'll be like, dude, like just chill.
Yeah. I've learned at this point that now,
man, like one of my best mates, who Tim.
Yeah.
He's a runner. He guides me in races sometimes, and he like. If I'm like, can't be stuff taking the bins down or something, it's dark, like, can't see, you should go do it. He'll just tell me to F off.
like,
and that's good.
Well, and what do? Do you have to go do it?
Oh, yeah.
Just find your way.
Sure. Man, he doesn't give a
wandering
a
through the darkness. I mean, I don't know. This is going to come off real bad. Mate, I relate to you because our light has been broken in the toilet for like a week now, and it's fine during the day. Do you know how many times I've just shat in the dark in the last week? And you were coming in today, and I was like to Meg, I was just like, oh man, we should fix the light. Like Jaryd's coming over, and I was like, won't help. Won't help him anyway.
Actually, that's my big question. How do you wipe your ass? It's like just normal. How do you know when to stop?
Do you just wipe till it bleeds?
Yeah. You got to be sure.
Yeah. Exactly. You can't take no chances. Now, let's get into the running stuff. So I think we've had a good chat about your vision, but Jaryd is an incredible athlete. I would say you are it's just statistically alone, one of the best athletes in Australia, even in the able-bodied category.
Yeah.
Just in Australia, full stop.
Yeah, it's I went to a World Juniors for able-bodied, so 2 people get qualified for that in the 1500, and I came, I don't know, 14th or so. No, this was
that was the first
this is
one.
World Juniors, yeah, and then I won the Australian under-20 title for able-bodied as well, and then made a national final in the seniors as well. Came about 7th in that. Or 8th, yeah.
That's so sick.
So
I've done. I'm cool that you're better than everyone, and they don't have to worry about where they're running. Yeah. That's so. Boys, train harder. Yeah. All right, that's why you train the hardest out of everyone.
Yeah, it's different. It's not necessarily I train as in I train further or faster. I guess
smarter.
I don't know. Well, yeah, I do a lot of running in circles just because it's safer.
You surround yourself with the right people, though. You're part of like a elite running squad. You live in Canberra now, pretty much part time or almost full time.
Yeah. Well, I've got a lease there, so I should live there probably more than I do. But yeah,
well, you got the girlfriend stuff here.
Yeah, that's right.
Got to get down. But and you went to like it's been so many places. You've been to the Dubai.
Yeah, Dubai was.
That would have been hot.
Yeah.
I remember watching it like 4 a.m. I always wake up to watch Jaryd's races when he runs. It's always like early hours of the morning because it's always overseas. Dude, it's like 40 degrees and you're running like a world champ.
Yeah, no, it was like 9:39. My first one was in 2015 in Doha, and that was probably the hottest. Yeah, it was like 30 degrees, ridiculous humidity. This is like nearly 10 o'clock at night as well. It's just not a nice place. I mean, running's already it's running, like it's already kind of painful. Doing it in those conditions is like pretty brutal. Yeah. Not a nice thing.
You're like the biggest advocate of the world gym that I've ever met. During COVID, every time I went for a walk, like with my parents to catch up or with a friend or whatever, just by myself, I'd always just see you every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be like, Jaryd, and you'd be just like, do people just say that all the time now when you're running along? So you just give them a polite wave and you just like go, I don't know, and then just keep going.
Yeah, I either get beeped or someone like, it's real awkward as well when, oh man, I've got a story. Yeah. And I'm sure do you remember Mr. Van Mewen from high school?
Yeah, legend.
Maths teacher, great guy.
Lent me his Thunderbirds box set on DVD. He comes to my shows still. He's a sick dude.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Like, and he's like a pretty elite hockey player. Anyway, I was running around Diamond Creek the other day, and anyway, a car someone shouts out from a car, and I always like try to keep running, so then I like never get caught up in not knowing who I'm talking to. Yep. Just go, oh wait. Anyway, this person like stopped the car, gets out, and I like kind of seen like that it's a human being, like their outline. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my friend's boyfriend for sure. And then anyway, they come closer, start talking. I'm like, oh no, that's Tim, my mate's dad, Craig. Like that's 100% him. I know that it's him.
Yep.
We start talking about running stuff that he would know about. I even bring up Tim, and then he goes, oh, you know who I am, right? And I'm like, yeah, yes. And then like I was so certain, and then I made the biggest mistake. So Tim's dad, Craig, won the Empire State Stair Run way back in the day, and I'd just gotten the video of Tim of it. Like,
in New York?
Day. In New York. It's a big deal. Anyway.
How many flights is...
Oh, man, I don't know, but...
A lot of stairs.
He looked pretty comfortable at the end.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've gone, oh, I just saw a video of you winning the Empire State Stair Run. And who actually was Mr. Van has gone, no, never done that before. And I'm like... Oh, and it hit me in an instant, and I was like, oh my God, I need to like prove that I've realized who this guy is. So I just go, oh, so how's the hockey going? I just like changed it in an instant.
Oh, so you did realize who it was after that?
Oh, I realized after that, because then I was like,
they don't look that similar. No, I know, I've met Tim's dad and I've met Mr. Van, and
dude, I don't know why. Like I thought,
similar energy. Both got relaxed like vibes, same height, brown hair. I guess I see it.
No, you don't. You're being nice.
One's quite tan and one is very white.
But he would have been so confused going from Empire State straight to something that is very specifically him.
Yes.
Hockey.
Yeah, but he's a nice guy. He understands. People understand. That's why they...
He would have had to have picked up on it. I'm sorry, Mr. Van, if you actually do end up...
Oh, mate, he probably will watch this. He's a big fan. He works.
Yeah.
So many people... Do you know, like... Jaryd is like a local celebrity.
Oh,
like,
that is so...
You go to a running meet, oh my God, you're like famous.
A running meet.
In like the running community.
Yeah.
You are. Because you're on TV, you do motivational speaking at places, and...
Yeah. No, I do.
You're a big deal.
We have this conversation a lot.
You're verified on Instagram.
Are you not verified?
No, I'm a big deal too, but I'm...
You said that like it was like something unique.
I realized after I said it, I was like, oh,
because you've got like about 7... Oh, no, I'm underestimating. Like 15 times the amount of followers I've got.
You were verified well before I was, though. I think because from memory, I remember I used to use that against you.
Yeah, you did.
I did. Because you're a big shot, mate, before I was, you know?
Yeah, but then I got you to... I reckon I got you to sign like my Snapchat once, and once you did that, I tried to get back into you about it, and you didn't care. So I realized that my defense strategy when you were doing that was really poor.
Yeah. No, you're a big shot, and you deserve everything. So one thing that I've been loving watching in the last year is Jaryd is... And this is crazy. Jaryd is so good at running now. He's actually his only competition. You've beaten your own world record 3 times?
4.
That was all right. We need to play the Flex Chat opener. This is we have a segment called Flex Chat. Ooh. You just go through and just list your achievements.
All right, here we go.
We love doing it on this podcast.
This is a good segment.
Yeah. You get to go through and just humble brag about everything you've ever achieved.
Go?
Yeah.
No,
so it starts off. I'll do the first one. I'll start you off. He beats me in year 7. Then.
Jeez, we going that far back? Yeah. Ooh. That's a long way back.
Yeah, there's been a lot of trophies and medals since then.
Oh, I've been to a Paralympic Games. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
3 world titles. 3 world title events. 2 world titles.
Yeah.
Gold medals. I want to... Actually, you know what? This is a bit of a flex. It's an old one, but in my first world title, I came 7th. But I was 16, and the oldest person in the race had won a Paralympic medal before I was born, and the second youngest was 24. And I reckon that was...
So you were way younger.
I was way younger. So
how old were you?
I was 16. Yeah. And now, second youngest was 24.
They got bitten by a child.
That's well, awesome. Some of
so
did
I. I know how it feels. Trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about that world record too, if we're flexing a little bit, is that it was my own as well. Like from the start of the season, and then beat it 4 times, but then 2 other races were faster than the original record from the start of the year. So I've had a pretty good season.
You've had a great season this year, and you've been getting these world records locally, like at Box Hill, which is not, I don't know, people who may not be into running might think this is stupid, but there is things in the running community, like terminology thrown around, like, oh, that's not a fast track.
Yeah.
Or like that's a track that's hard to get a good time at because of like either wind or it's in a channel that just like some tracks are just built in a wind channel. So you're going up the straight and it's not even windy, but it's like 40-kilometer winds down the back straight.
Yeah. Melbourne's main track's built on a lake near the bay. Like.
Yes. It's a bad location and the way the stands are built, all the wind just funnels through. But that Box Hill track is like not particularly known for like setting world records on.
Nah. It's had a few other good things though this season. Like the first Australian woman to ever break the 4-minute barrier for 1500 happened there the other night. So it's actually becoming
That's unbelievable.
Renowned. Yeah, it's becoming renowned. Although it's just this is the thing. This is how good it is compared to the main track that has like a proper stadium. Like all our meets there now in Victoria are pretty much held at Box Hill.
Oh, really?
So it is actually now becoming
Albert Park
renowned.
is blue, but it isn't. That doesn't mean it's good.
I reckon. Yeah, no, it does not.
But it is blue, which is pretty cool.
Hang on. You got to flex some of your running achievements as well. I don't know if you've ever done it before on the podcast.
Mate, because if I
I've
did
seen
it,
you run at this Albert Park.
Yeah,
track.
but that'd be like
state title.
What did you do? That'd be like you flexing like 4th best and fairest in footy and under 12. Like
I actually do flex some footy achievements sometimes.
Really?
And I'm not going to do it here because it's
you should.
No, I'm not
if there was ever a place to just gloat about your achievements for no reason, it's 100% this podcast. It's mainly what it's about. I'm actually shocked that I've never bragged about my running achievements. No, I think the best I ever did was I have talked about this. I came 5th in the 800 meters once at state, but I never made the national team. I missed out by, I don't know, like 0.1 of a second or something like that. Like
brutal.
I got 1:58. So what's your best time in 1500 meters?
3:41. So I go through 800 in that.
I don't know if you know, but that's very good. I think my best time ever got to was 4:16. So I'd be on the other back straight when you're finishing. And now I could maybe not even run under 5.
I'd put money on you running under 5.
I haven't run in 6 weeks. This is why I haven't been talking about the World Gym a lot since Comedy Festival started. Oh boy.
This is the thing. That's a feat of endurance, the Comedy Festival.
You were saying this in the car. I picked you up.
You really underplay it. And I get here and you do this again, night after night. And then you're like, yeah, we just finished recording this when I got here. And then we're recording this. Man, that's relentless.
Mate, you literally do like high altitude training camps. You're like, I don't know how he does it. He talks for an hour a night. What a hero.
It's funny. We get in these
we always get into these back and forth of going, you're more impressive. And you're like, no way, dude. People
but then
love
sometimes
you.
we like, after a few beers, I reckon we try to start flexing on each other as well. And I reckon I always lose, Oh yeah, I got paid this much for a gig.
No, that's all you do. I know how much you made for winning those world records. We don't have to say it, but I know how much you make for winning a world champ, and I shut up real quick. The man does all right.
It's all right. It's good.
I flex, mate. One night we were at our local pub, and you're like, "Beers are on me."
That's a problem that I just have.
You're just a nice guy. Your problem is not having cash. It's just being really generous.
People from school will know that, yeah.
You're just a nice dude.
Actually, that's the most dangerous when I'm with school friends because then I haven't seen them. I don't go out with them that often, but when I do see them, no one remembers who owes who a beer. So I'm just like, I'm sure I owe you a beer from at least year 12.
Oh, yeah.
And it backfires when I check my account the next day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, real bad. real bad.
I mean, that's why you just got to be stern and a bit of a dick on a night out. You're like, mate's like, it's your shout. I'm like, I don't think so. I'm not sure about that. No, I'm pretty generous with that stuff on a night out. But most of my mates make more money than me because they work full time. So they don't really like, you know what I mean? Like, if I go buy them beer, they'll just buy one back because they're just like, probably just feel bad for me. I guess like, oh, he's a comedian and he just went through a pandemic. We'll get to the next one, mate. But no, it's all going very well. Mate, it's going very, very well for both of us since
it is.
Come back.
It is. I've been to your comedy festival twice.
You've been twice?
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
So just being honest, what is that experience for you?
We were talking about this.
Yeah.
I can't see you, obviously.
Because I do a lot of physical things.
Well,
like,
yeah, I learned that after the show when you told me. And apparently it's important.
So you just like listen to the jokes as they're said, but can you see movements?
Oh, nah.
Just
No.
Just
Well, I
bright
sat
light?
pretty far at the back the first time. And then the other time I was like, yeah, I couldn't see you really, nah.
Well, what's the best way to describe to people like what you see every day?
So like my thing is juvenile macular degeneration. So it affects my central vision. Perception of detail is basically what is really hard. So like the top letter on an eye chart, if people have done eye chart stuff, yeah, they have to bring that like further, like closer, towards me for me to like even pick up on that. So transferring that to a real life situation, like right now, I can obviously see that you're there, but then like seeing your actual facial features is quite difficult unless I like.
I look like
my
shit
eyes
today. Anyway,
real-
so it's all good. That's great.
Unless I like
I didn't
make
put on
my
my
eyes
makeup,
wonky.
so that's good.
That's it. That's also what everyone says when I say that. Oh, don't worry. Actually, no, you've gone the opposite.
Such a dad joke, isn't it? I realized as soon as I said, I was like, that was pretty good.
No, you kind of go. A lot of people go, oh, don't worry. I'm like, I look real good, and then I just go, yeah, sure, you do. Yeah,
but you know, like, do you know how to read Braille?
I do.
Oh, you've learned
No,
now.
I do. Yeah, no, I learnt really young. Mum was real intent on that, which was like smart because like learn. It's basically a new language. Learn language young.
Because your vision is slowly.
It's degenerative.
Yeah, I was about to say deteriorating, but I knew that wasn't the right word.
Yeah, it's not like rapid or anything. Like not at all.
Yeah,
it's pretty. Well, this is the thing. Like I think it's stable, but then there's days that because also fatigue really affects like day to day. Like how tired I am will affect what I can see. If I'm doing a lot of uni, I'm not fluent in Braille, where it's like time saving for me if I'm studying, for instance. So I still use my eyes a lot, and then when I've do that, I'm like pretty cool.
Oh, so you've done schoolwork and stuff in Braille before?
Not really, but I think I could if I had to. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you type? You don't.
So
you write it
there's
out?
like machines now
To
that
type
hook
it out.
up to your computer, and it's basically got a trackpad that, if you're on Word, that will come up in the dots on there, and it'll actually just change. So it's not on
is it
paper.
just letters, the dots?
Yeah, so there's 6 cells, and each letter is a configuration of dots within that 6 cells, basically. And then there's contractions, so like there's enough. You can do enough different things within the 6 cells to make like pretty much most common words fit into like one little cell.
You are so smart. I couldn't even learn Italian. I did it for 7 years.
Yeah, but see,
I know how to say
really
ciao.
young.
I did. I started when I was in prep.
All right,
I'm an idiot. Everyone else, like I did.
No, I did Italian. I don't know.
Well, you probably know more than me because you clearly can pick up. Yeah, but that's like English letters.
Yeah.
Like I really admire people who learn not only what you've done, Braille, which is a whole other thing, but like any language that like Mandarin or whatever that doesn't have English letters, you have to learn a whole different alphabet.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Well, it's funny because Braille's French, and there's like I've said myself. This could be really wrong, but I'm pretty sure they don't have like the letter W or something
In the French.
Yeah. So then there was one letter anyway. They had to like bring that in.
Don't French people always go, oh, whoa.
Yeah, see, I feel like I'm really wrong. You've done...
Sorry, anything that you say that sounds bad, I will just like, in comparison, make it seem so much better. That was my impression of a French person.
I've gone out on a limb just to like say that, and then you've tried to impression it. Jeez.
Yeah, buongiorno,
buongiorno.
That sounds right.
Yeah, man.
Buongiorno is Italian, I think, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Isn't bonjour? Isn't bonjour?
I don't know. I just said I don't know Italian either.
No, it's so good.
No, what's French?
Bonjour.
Bonjour. That's,
Italian's so good, you think it's French.
I mean, sure. If that's like being like, I know Braille's so good, I think it's Morse code. Like, it's not the same thing at all.
No, it's not. Nah, Morse code's cooked though.
Do you know Morse code?
No, whenever it gets brought up, which is very rarely, I'm always like, that's cooked. And Braille's much easier.
So, what do you do? This is one thing that again, another mistake I've made with you in the past. We're all talking about like some new movie, like, oh, did you go see The Avengers or whatever? I was like, Jaryd, did you see it? And then you were like, one time you just said to me, it was so blunt. You were like, I don't really watch movies.
Yeah.
And I was like, Yes. So do you? What do you like watch for entertainment? You don't just sit there.
No, like I was like, on it on my iPad, I
Yep.
can watch a movie. It has to be pretty close.
Yep.
So if I'm watching with my girlfriend Charlotte,
I'm
holding it. I always sometimes forget she's like watching it, needs to see the screen because I'm like kind of bringing it pretty close.
Yeah.
But no, like cinemas. I even reckon when I was real young, I obviously went to a few movies there, and like I remember rewatching those movies like a couple of years later, and like suddenly so many things made much more sense.
Because you didn't have glasses at the time or something.
No, I had glasses. Well, that's another thing with the glasses. But yeah, no, I just probably didn't. I can't really remember, but I just didn't see it. And obviously, visual things in movies are pretty important.
So you like, and because it was pretty cool when we got into radio. You were like always super interested.
Yeah,
You know what I was talking about? You're like, oh man, you're on radio now. And I was like, for a bit, I was like, why does Jaryd care so much about radio? And I was like, oh, because it's like audio and it's 100%. It's like
I
you're
was
into it.
Man, radio was my thing back in the day.
Work experience at SEN.
Yeah,
didn't
SEN.
you?
I was like, man, I'd ring up SEN. I even nearly like had a segment for one summer of the cricket where like I'd call in before every test and give my 11 starting players, and like they'd expect Jaryd from Greensboro to call up. And
That's awesome.
Oh, it's pretty funny, but it's a bit
Are you that into cricket?
I was then.
You love sport.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Back then I really loved sport. Now I'm a bit older and I still like it. But.
What's your favorite sport to watch as a curveball in the Paralympics?
Ooh.
Other than running, obviously, because you do
man,
that.
I
I mean,
mean,
you have a lot of friends who run, so.
It's got to be. I mean, surely for most people, it's wheelchair rugby. Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's brutal.
Man, they used to like. I'm sure its official name used to be murder ball. No, like I'm nearly. Oh, I could be really wrong, but
It was definitely
they
like
definitely called that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they, man, like Riley Batt, who's our Paralympic captain for Tokyo, he basically explains when the wheelchairs crash into each other, it's like a mini car crash. That's how hard they're going. If you haven't seen it before,
it's hectic.
Check it out on YouTube.
I can't get how they get that fast on grass.
No.
Oh, it's on the court.
It's on like a basketball
Yes,
court.
of course. I was just like thinking about that. I was like, why have I never seen him do it on grass? Because
Dude, that would...
Dude, I say the dumbest shit all the time.
Man, that's...
I know.
Riz is like, yes. I do this podcast with you every week.
On grass.
On grass. I was like, man, those boys got some forearms.
You'd need it. Jeez. But yeah, like these guys, like there's some of them are that insane. Like, I know like Kurt Fearnley, who's a marathon, like he does marathons and he's retired now, but he's one of like the guys that when you meet him, he's just one of the best blokes you meet, but he's also just like, I remember he gave us a speech. So Rio, there's actually a documentary on Netflix. I recommend that as well, Rising Phoenix. But they basically talk about how before Rio, they'd spent so much money on the Olympics that there was a chance that the Paralympics would either get cancelled or it would go ahead in a really bad way because they just had no money. And we're sitting in Florida.
It's insane that they let that happen.
Yeah. And the guys at the Paralympic committee and like they just like got onto it and they basically single-handedly got it back up and running. But we were sitting in Florida, the team camp before, and I remember thinking like, man, like this is crazy. Like we might not even get to Brazil and we're supposed to fly in a few days. And Kurt got to the front of the room and gave us this speech and it just gave me like goosebumps. He's one of those people and he's probably one of my favorite athletes to watch.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's crawled Kokoda. I'm pretty sure he's done all these amazing
That's the other
stuff.
thing how a lot of people know him.
Yeah,
because he's big off, like outside of his sport and stuff as well. He's just like a guy that's been a huge advocate for and an inspiration to able-bodied people and disabled people as well. He's just like those people that are like, I could be better. You look at them and you go, what's my excuse?
Yeah. Like this is the thing. He's done like all of this. He's won Paralympic gold medals, like by the dozen nearly. And like he starts his book by like the prologue, I'm sure, is him winning the Sydney to Hobart yacht race where they've just like he's just tied down to the ship so he doesn't get like flung off and he's just bailing out like spew or water or something like that. I haven't read it in a while, but it's along those lines. And that's how he starts the book. And man, that is like one of the toughest things.
That's insane. That's what a legend.
Yeah, so he's definitely one of the athletes that I look up to.
Like, it'd be dangerous for you to go on a boat in bad water.
Oh man, boats like there's stuff swinging around. There's a lot to.
It's dangerous for anyone to go on a boat. Guys, don't go on boats. Yeah, what an absolute legend. Is it? Yeah, so he's your favorite athlete.
He's my favorite athlete, but yeah, wheelchair rugby though, man, murder ball.
Yeah, murder ball's sick. Do they do No, probably wouldn't. Do they do any version of water polo in the Paralympics?
Nah.
That would be dangerous.
That would be...
Well, you could do, I mean, vision impaired, they could do it.
Vision impaired water polo would be more of a laugh, you know? Like...
That'd be a mess. It would be a bit of a mess.
But seriously, like...
Because have you been running with guides at big meets like the Paralympics?
Yeah, so I guess this is something to explain, because 1,500 meters I run solo.
Yes.
5,000 meters I run with guides. So I'm obviously, if you haven't realized already, I'm not totally blind.
Yes.
I'm visually impaired. So I don't race totally blind athletes. I only race visually impaired. And we are allowed guides. You don't have to have them. But for the 5K, I'm allowed 2. Whereas at 1,500 meters, I'm allowed 1.
And they swap halfway.
And they swap halfway for the 5K. So
you know why? Because literally they can't keep up with Jaryd for the whole time. That's the actual reason. Imagine being so good at your job, like you, that other people can't even do your job.
Yeah.
So they have to do half of it.
Yeah. It's funny though. I mean, they got to do a lot.
These guys you train with regularly,
These
like
guys,
Tim and
Tim,
you guys
my coach
like
Philo, yeah.
brothers, you know, like.
And this is the thing. That's why they're so good, because for me, I could get around a track pretty well, maybe slightly slower than with the guides. But a guide's job, if you're in a Paralympic Games, you know, Tokyo will be 5 years of training for literally one moment. And if you stuff it up, you have to wait till the next one. And so I really want to make sure I'm on top of everything going on. I want to know what position I'm coming. I want to know how quick we're going, how many laps to go, which runner is making the move in front of me, because if it's like the Kenyan guy, it's probably worth reacting to compared to an athlete that I know is probably not going to be challenging at the end of the race.
Yep.
So I need to know all this stuff, but then also, like, I've genuinely finished a race thinking I've won it, and I hadn't, because someone gotten off and I hadn't seen it. And like, imagine if that happens at a thing.
And you fling your hands up like, my God, I've done it. You start celebrating. Everyone's like, hey. It's like the same thing. Frenchie comes up to you and goes, you haven't won it.
Nah.
He's not with us.
It would be, I'd be on YouTube. I'd become... Yeah, it'd be like the dude that shits themselves in the marathon.
You know,
or
that's that's my second favorite genre of sport video is poop videos. Poop sport videos is my second. My favorite genre of sport fails is premature celebrations. Oh, I love it.
See, but
cycling ones are the best ones. They're like, because they do no hands and then they fall off the bike and then everyone else goes past them.
But what would that be? Premature, like, because, you know, those people are actually in front when they start celebrating and then someone comes past them. What about if someone's already crossed the line and then I start celebrating?
I mean, that's just, I don't know what that is. That's just like...
That's just blind.
Yeah. That's just not being aware of your surroundings.
Yeah. So basically that's what the guys are. And then the 15, honestly, if there was someone out there that could talk to me, run on the outside, which is a little bit further, and be conscious of everything going on completely, and be able to communicate effectively in a pretty loud, intimidating environment, then I would go for a guy in the 15.
Do you think in the future, here's an idea, you can use it, I'm going to change running forever. Has there ever been chat of ever having a little earpiece in?
Yeah.
Like a coach's,
like you've brought
coach's
this up
box?
I don't see... Yeah,
or would
so
that be dangerous? Maybe, because then you couldn't hear other stuff. That might be dangerous.
It's pretty loud out there, though. You can't really hear much compared to normal races. Because I remember in Braille, I use my ears a lot in races, especially locally. And, you know, athletics in Australia is not a huge sport. No. So it's not loud when you're on the track. In fact, some of the biggest meets are quite quiet. So I can hear everything going on. And then I walked out into the stadium in Rio. And honestly, like, I think it was only 35,000, which is low for a games. And man, like, there was 2 Brazilians in my race and the crowd was so loud. And I kind of get 100 meters in. I'm like, oh man, I can't use like one of the main things that I use.
It's that main sense that I've trained for 10 years to use in a race.
Yeah, so that was kind of off-putting. That was real off-putting.
That? Like, you're like, I'm going to train my whole life to be an Olympian. And you're just like, oh, there's people that go to the Olympics. Shit.
Yeah. So, like earpieces could work, but I guess like this is the thing. Tim and I know each other so well, and pretty much like if we're running on a trail and we're kind of cooked, and he can't be bothered, like saying something to me, you're like, oh, there's like a pole. He'll just bump me out of the way. Like he'll just hip and shoulder me or like nudge me and if you actually watch our races sometimes with the close up footage, he'll either like pull me a little bit like to get me in the right position, or I remember 300 meters ago, the 5K in Dubai, we were behind the Spanish guy and I wanted to make the move, but I'm behind the guy and Tim's on the outside. So I had to like really give him a big elbow and he knew exactly what that meant and we just went for it.
Yeah, I've seen you guys do it. It's like because they train together. And Tim, I've been running with Tim and Jaryd since I was really young as well. And obviously they're both very elite, and I've changed career paths. And but it's so cool watching you guys still do it together, and obviously the friendship you have, and that silent communication you have is one of my favorite things to watch. Not only being your mate, but it's just so impressive to watch people so in sync, and you run with a little
it's a tether.
It's a tether, like holding your arms, wrists together.
It's 30 centimeters long, but most of that's taken up by the loops that we hold.
So you have to run literally in sync.
Yeah. If we were out of sync, it wouldn't.
So the strides have to be in sync when they run. I just smashed my elbow. That's right, mate. It was a good act out.
Yeah.
So it's so cool. And I remember back in the day, you used to practice with it when you're jogging, and we tried it one day. Like we did some warm up laps, and you're like, oh, you have a go with the tether, and just like cart me around the track or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just like trying to be in sync with you, and I was just
it's hard,
dude, I can't believe you do this full speed. We were jogging, and I was like, oh, hang on, I'm out of sync again.
I think it's a skill, because you look at a lot of other athletes that are going to the Paralympic Games, and I don't know why they haven't worked this out maybe, but a lot of them don't try. But we will I'll actively make sure that we're in sync if we're getting out of sync, because it's like conserves energy.
They don't try that. The guys
Some of them don't.
They just run.
Yeah, like how they don't really. It doesn't seem like they're putting thought into like how that would just make this so much better.
That's why you're the king. That's why you're the best.
There's actually a funny so in Dubai, the 5K, which I won at the World Champs, 80 meters to go, Tim looked behind him to make sure we had a big enough buffer. But in doing that, and he was pretty cooked, which, to give him credit, apparently he tore his calf in that race. But we got out of sync and we slowed down quite a lot. And
torn calf will do that.
Yeah, man, so this is the thing, man. He's such a good dude. He didn't even tell you. His calf was cooked apparently the week leading in, and I barely knew about it. And then I think it was torn in the race, and he just kept running, and he missed quite a few weeks and basically hampered his own personal season nearly, or did.
Yeah.
So he's just a good dude.
Yeah, he is. You've got a lot. It's part of you. You surround yourself with good people, but obviously there's a lot of good people around you, because that's you're a great person, so you attract good people at the end of the day. And he's a very good dude.
Yeah, he is.
Now we have some listener questions. I put it out on my Instagram story just before you came, so I can't promise great questions. One we already had was pretty condescending. So let's see what we've got. I'm just opening up. Opening up a question section on your Instagram without no preparation is there's
got to be rogue ones in there.
How often does he hit the gym as opposed to the world gym?
The gym? Oh, man.
So the world gym's obviously outside.
Yeah. Thanks. The gym, I'm not a big fan.
My man.
Nah, I have man.
You're a runner.
Have you look at me? I'm pretty skinny. Going to a gym for one, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, when have you ever watched a 5,000 meter race at the Olympics and been like, those blokes lift? Those blokes are jacked.
So it's supposed to be twice a week. I don't know if you would. It's not like the equivalent gym to say what a gym junkie would do in the gym, but I also still avoid that when I can. So I think I've done 3 gym sessions since November.
Oh, Jesus. For someone who's as elite as you, that really proves my point. You can get out there in the world and just get it done for free.
Exactly, running. Run. If I want to be better at running,
and
just
it's helpful if you're also sponsored by the AAS as well. But so how do you feel about the usage, or we kind of already talked about this, of joking over disabilities in comedy, just in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think there's two ways to look at it. If it's coming from a good place, which I think you can tell pretty easily. Like, if you're doing it, yeah, it's a tough one, really.
Did you ever see my joke about Stephen Hawking that I had?
Oh, I think so.
Like where I stood up out of the wheelchair at the end and like.
Yeah. See, I think.
What are you like? I know you don't get offended, but do you like go, it's wrong, and because you know a lot of people who are disabled, do you?
Yeah.
Think that's bad, or you can say.
No, I'm just trying to think what I think. Like for me personally, it's a very personal thing. I think. Like for me, unless it's like really like going after it in a very derogatory way,
in a malicious way.
Yeah, in a malicious way. That's the word I'm looking for. In a malicious way, like I think that's like, but yeah, like you can probably tell that. I don't know, but I think that's the thing though. Like, is if you go in a comedy, like you got to take everything as it's comedy. I don't know. Is that how?
Yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah,
like, then the comedian's never being serious. I mean, in the experience that I've had with people who are disabled in the crowd, it's just they love it after the show.
Yeah.
If you pick on them, like not in a fun way, like not even pick on them. Picking them is the wrong word. Like if you bring them into the show, we all joke about it. We all laugh together, and they're laughing too. They always come up to you and go, "Thank you so much for not treating me different."
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and that's what I always try and do. I'm never like.
Yeah.
You know,
no, that's good though.
But it is fun,
that,
like making cheap jokes. Like there's a guy one day, we had to lift him into the show.
Yeah, see,
and I was just like to him, I'm like, man, and he started heckling me, and I was like, bro, I had to lift you in here. Do not, the balls of you to heckle right now is insane. I just start going at him.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
but that's the thing, like,
man, if I have to lift anyone into the show, you're not saying shit. Right? If I cart you in here with your mate.
Classic. But no, I think that's it. Like, I think you'll find that a lot of people, because if you have a disability, and most disabilities are not like, I mean, the idea of needing to fix a disability is pretty problematic because it should be something that's celebrated, which it is. Exactly. Difference is celebrated, but like for people, you know, disability is quite permanent. So if you're not like, everyone should have, you know, we should all reach a point where, and I've definitely done this, where we embrace who we are, we accept it as a part of us. It's like, you know, it doesn't define us, like it's not our defining characteristic, but it is definitely who we are. And it's like, if you've embraced it, then you're probably going to be happy for people to like kind of make a joke about it as they would make a joke about, I think someone was in the crowd the other day, had pink hair. Like it's, I think if you've embraced it, but then I think that's the thing. Like people with disabilities, they're going through different things.
Didn't go well, the pink hair joke. Bit of silence, a lot of Brunswick energy in the room that night. Yeah, I think that's what he was there last night. Was that last night?
Yeah, there was one also there last night. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I pick on a lot of people with pink hair.
There's a joke where you literally go,
"Oh yeah, pink front fringe." Yeah.
But I think like the counter to that, I guess, I don't know, it's not really a counter, but the exception, it would be that some people are obviously not at that point of accepting who they are, or not accepting who they are, but kind of embracing that. And I can definitely see from their perspective why they wouldn't like it, but I also think like, I mean, I'm sure you've realized you can't make everyone happy.
No, I've accepted that. There's a really good example. It definitely was. It wasn't malicious, but it was like a low blow. Sure, I guess. Like it was this TikTok, and this guy works with disabled people, and I accidentally imply, like it was a complete misunderstanding. If you can't say that, you're an idiot. I go, I was like, oh, you getting a text from a girl? And he's like, yeah, mate. And he's already said at the start of the show he works with disabled people. And he goes, I'm like, oh my God, on a Wednesday, you getting texting some girls? I'm like, he's like, yeah, mate, going on a date. I'm like, whoa, who gets laid on a Wednesday? That's crazy. And then he goes, mate, it's hump day. And I go, of course. And I go, I mean, you work with disabled people. Now, I was implying that he was a good guy. Like, because why wouldn't you want to sleep with someone who's a bloody legend and has an honourable profession like that? That's how my brain works. The crowd goes, ooh, implying that he's obviously taking advantage of someone who's disabled. And I just get into this hot water and I explain the miscommunication. We all laugh. Everyone in the room goes, classic Luke, what a dickhead he's made. He's accidentally said something. I then put that up on TikTok. It goes viral. It gets like 2 million views because everyone else understands the joke. Yeah. Then I get message, I'm disabled and I didn't like that. It's like, if you couldn't see maybe they couldn't or something. Like, I'm like, it's just sad to me that I'm like, it's not, the joke is not at disabled people's expense. The joke is at my expense because I was an idiot in the situation. And I then call myself an idiot and go, that's silly.
Yeah. That's why, like, I mean, if we're spending so much...
You can't please everyone. Yeah.
No. I think that's why, like, I think things that are genuinely malicious and, like, if they genuinely come from a place where the person genuinely either thinks people with disabilities are inferior for some reason, then that's definitely, obviously, not.
Of course, that's not okay.
But yeah, like like Dylan Alcott, like.
Oh yeah, he's just
biggest example.
He's been in hot water recently. Dylan Alcott, he's like a very famous para-athlete. He does tennis, basketball. He's on mainstream radio. Yeah. What he said, I mean, Jaryd doesn't have to comment on it, was nothing. He goes,
I thought it was quite funny.
It was funny. He was talking about the footy and the Kangaroos are doing really bad this year, right? And he goes, I think even I could have got a kick out there. And he's in a wheelchair. Now that's funny because he can't kick.
Yeah.
And that's the joke.
But everyone knows him as being like,
and he's saying it about himself and people are like, you can't say that. I'm like, well, he can. He's actually the only person who can.
But even like I think he got a COVID vaccine the other day, and he just at the end of it he goes, "P.S. to all the anti-vaxxers out there, the vaccines allowed me to walk
again."
And genuinely, people in the comments were like, "Oh, well, this is hard to believe that the vaccine has this much power." And there was people in the comments.
People are so thick.
And then it was so funny. It's there's some of the screenshots, like ABC Sport chucked it up. I think that's how I seen it.
People are such dorks, man. Like the reason why Dylan Alcott's in the news for that kick joke is because like a Kangaroos player, a former Kangaroos, I don't know, was it Wayne Carey? Someone like that. It probably wasn't, but someone was like, "You shouldn't be saying that about the Kangaroos." Mate, the bloke is literally in a wheelchair. If he can't make a joke at his own expense about how shit your footy club is performing, and who cares? It's sport.
Yeah, that's right. It is sport.
It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if the Kangaroos are playing some bad footy, it's not the end of the world, is it?
Yeah, and like if you're a professional athlete, which they are, you're going to look at that game against the Dogs, which was like over 100 points, and you probably realize that you probably... Like, it was a bad performance.
And also, hot burn from Dylan.
I reckon a lot of them would rate it. It's pretty funny.
Of course,
it's definitely a go-to for him. I've heard him say it before.
It's mainly just the news. They just whip up anything to get clicks. I mean,
go to the comment sections, report on the comment section as outrage, and that counts as an article now.
Yes, exactly. Well, that answers the question about the comedy. I mean, I think that people really obviously wanted you to talk about that because this is a podcast about comedy. Yeah. So you've never got asked that before at an interview, what you think about.
No, and I'm sure, it's definitely has a lot of different opinions.
Lewis has asked me, does reading 100 plus what's his favourite colour questions make you want to quit the podcast? Yes, because there's about 4 here I can see. People are saying, when will you run a marathon? We've already
marathon. Yeah. Maybe 2024 Paris.
You want to do it at the Olympics?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe we'll see. I
thought you just wanted to do it for fun. Oh, you want to competitively do it?
Well, depending on how well Tokyo goes. So I'd like to win the double, the 2 gold medals, 15.5. But it would be very difficult. But if I do that, then like for me, logically, to better that would be to try and do the triple, the 15.5 marathon, which would be pretty ambitious. So I'm saying it publicly way too much.
You're going to try and do all 3 in the one Olympics?
Yeah, well, the marathon's
2
last.
weeks.
The marathon's last, so it's kind of like if that fails, then I've still had...
So the 5,000, which, by the way, exhausting.
Yeah,
don't know if you guys ever run 5 kilometers to the point where you vomit, but it's takes a bit out of you.
Yeah, it does.
Don't know if you guys have ever run at the Olympics before, but I'm sure it's pretty hard. And then after that, you're like, I got another 42K in me.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, I'm probably...
You're such a legend.
It's going to be the last thing I want to do, but also, like, if I did that and somehow pulled that off, it'd be outrageous, I reckon.
Dude, you are such an inspiration. I was like, to Reese, I was like, tonight's show, I don't know how it's going to go. Now it's going to... If I can't do the show, we've already been going for an hour. Yeah. Guys... We're trekking on because I've got more questions. Do you want to keep going for a bit?
Oh, man, I'm happy to.
Because I've got more questions.
I was saying before the show, I don't know what you're going to talk to me about for an hour.
Dude, it's interesting. You're an interesting person. I mean, it's always just about me. I suck. So this is a nice change of pace. All right, this is a good one from Robert. Hard question. Okay.
Yeah.
How many Bics do you do?
How many picks?
How many wheat Bics?
Heaps, yeah.
Heaps.
Loads.
I do 7. Only because that's how many fit in the bowl. How many do you do, Reese?
Like 4.
Coward. Do you do
7
more than
fits
4?
in the bowl.
Do you do more than 4?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, great.
7 would not fit in a bowl. Does it?
Just get a big bowl.
This is true.
Big
Bowls come
brain.
in as a smart move.
Yeah, I do. I stack them like Jenga, like 2 there, 2 there, 2 there, and then I slip one down the side. Yeah, I get a sneaker
That's
check.
strategic.
Yeah, dude.
You got it, but you got to get the energy because Wheat Bix gives you
Fiber. Yeah. How do you think I shit in the dark? A lot of people, bit rude, are asking, ask him, is being on this podcast a low point in your career?
No, but
I said answer honestly.
I should have said yeah. I should have said yeah. I did say to Else, my sister, this like the other day, and I was like, oh, I got a podcast. She goes, who with? I go, oh, Luke. And she listens to your podcast, and she still
lovely.
looked at me like, oh, what? But I don't know if that was
She
because it
listened
was
to it and went, oh, that would not be a career move, a good career move for you, being associated with that.
yeah, or maybe like, you know, why are you good enough to be on Luke's podcast? That's where I thought it was coming from. So maybe it's a high point in my career, you know?
No, you're definitely stooping down to come over to my house and sit here for an hour.
Man, will this get me more followers though?
Hopefully.
Man, I'll cop that.
Follow him, guys. It's if you're into running, especially, I've got a lot of people who are into running who come to my shows and stuff. I had a guy ask me last night after the show. He's like, "Oh, you've been pretty quiet on Strava. What's going on?" And I was just like, "I've been doing a show every night."
People like Strava.
Yeah, he was a ranger. So
runners are interesting people.
yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They're like the nerds of the sport world.
Yeah.
Because like footy players
Yeah.
are the jocks for sure.
Yeah,
If
that's
all
true.
for example, like
Yeah.
where do you who are the cool people in the Olympic Village? What's the coolest sport? The basketballers.
Basketballs are pretty cool, yeah. Like the wheelchair in the Paralympics, wheelchair basketballs, wheelchair rugby. It's hard to top that.
They roll around
Yeah.
like, what up, nerds? Yeah.
yeah, like pretty much. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty much how it goes.
Where do you sit on the
athletics is
pecking-
definitely like it's athletics and swimming. Swimming first half, athletics second half. Athletics definitely takes the cake there in that battle. I reckon.
Cooler than swimming?
Yeah, for
Oh
sure.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I don't think anyone. I mean, in Australia we idolize swimmers, but once every 4 years. Also, same with the athletes as well.
What?
Yeah, true. Athletics.
And swimming, Australia is better at swimming.
It's just because we're better at swimming because we're surrounded by water, but like it's hard to compete.
We have swimming pools.
We don't. Sure. Yes.
That's important.
We do.
You need swimming pools.
Well, I mean, some countries literally don't. So
no, yeah,
that's
Eric
why.
the Eel, that's a famous thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, hadn't the guy never swum in an Olympic-sized pool?
Yeah, I
before
didn't
the
think the
Olympics?
country had a pool.
How did
Something
he?
like that.
Oh, well, he didn't.
He did.
I mean, we all saw it.
Yeah.
How did he know how to swim? He wasn't actually quite sure.
It was a moment.
It was. Oh, one of the. Isn't it crazy though that like you go through all the past Olympics and all the greatest sporting moments in history, and that to me stands out as like one of the
People
best
love
ever
that
moments
stuff.
in sport.
Yeah.
And the guy couldn't do the sport, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
why do you train so hard, mate?
I want to know how he trained. Someone said, this is probably not
All
true.
up here.
But he
was just ready.
He was swimming away from crocs in the river. That's actually what he was telling people.
I feel like Eric the Eel likes a bit of a good story. I watched him swim. I don't think he'd be alive if he was swimming away from crocs.
Pretty fair assessment.
I've seen a croc swim and I've seen him swim. Eric, you no chance against the croc, mate.
The croc would get the eel. That's
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly.
I think that happens in the wild.
What got you interested in sports?
Yeah. Well, I think like the radio station, because I obviously wasn't going to watch TV. Mum definitely didn't like me watching TV because I know what her theory. I think it just made me tired because I was
And also,
straining my eyes.
Just she's a parent.
And she's but this is this was 7 years of nothing, you know.
Yeah.
And it was radio was what I went to, and Dad was like SEN, which is a sports station. So just froth sport, I guess.
I think
And
that's
then,
how everyone,
I
their
think so,
dads or
yeah.
mums or...
yeah, I don't know.
You always played
running,
different sports growing up.
Yeah, like running came out of literally realizing that I wasn't going to make it in those ball sports. And then that was, I mean, it's probably good. Running's probably the sport I'm best at anyway. But yeah, that's how I got into that because basically did a talent search, did good in the beep test, and like, yeah, probably do running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
And it
remember
worked.
my dad used to run at the same oval that my dad did in the morning. He used to come home every day and be like, that kid from your school, he's going to be an Olympian. And like he would just tell me, and we'd be like, "Yeah, he's really good. He's really good." But like it's a huge call to make when you see a 12-year-old running around, and Dad's like, "I've never seen anyone like run like that before." And it's true. Whenever I watch you run, I'm like, man, you know, like some people just make things look easy. You could like be 40K into a marathon. You could have shit running down your leg, you know, and I'd just be like, he's cruising, you know, like you just make it look easy.
Man, like I always thought I was getting up, 6 a.m. before school to get some of my doubles done, and I'd get up to the oval and I'd be
By
like,
the way, by doubles, he means 2 runs in a day.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, 2 runs in a day. That's
Get off the couch, you piece of shit. Not you, the people listening, all right, you garbage. Oh, I ran 5 kilometers last week. Do it again.
Twice.
What do you mean? I'm trying to be inspirational. This is what I do to our podcast.
Wait,
listeners.
wait.
I just call them all garbage and we go, see you next week. And then
But this is the thing. I'd get there at 6 a.m. I'm like, because I know that that's not normal. And I'd think, surely only one up here because I'm a bit of a big dog, like getting up at 6 a.m. to go for a run before school.
Yeah.
Quent,
Meanwhile, my dad,
your dad,
he's out here
shirt off in winter.
of course, from
running
4 a.m.
laps.
Big dog running rings around you. Not really, but trying to keep up would be the accurate.
Yeah, I remember we used to run like opposite ways around. So then you see each other
Every
every
lap you
about
have to
a
nod.
minute and you got to. Every time.
Why didn't one of you just switch directions to avoid that?
I ask myself that. I don't
Every
know.
day when I go to bed, why didn't I just change? Why didn't I just turn around?
And then I just make the mistake. It was good to see him every minute, He's a good dude.
I loved getting updates from him. And then I used to see at school anyway and be like, heard about your run this morning.
Yeah.
But no, most elite athletes do double sessions. Swimmers do it. Like they're
swimmers
4
are
a.m.
crazy. Nah, swimmers are, yeah. I mean, there's less impact on the body for a swimmer so they can train like way more. I'm kind of glad running hurts a bit more because you can only do it twice a day.
Someone said, because your name's Jaryd Clifford, someone said, what's it like being named after a big red dog? Original.
Yeah, that's like, man, that's, besides blind jokes, that's up there with the most told thing to me.
Just
Clifford the big red dog.
Yeah, it's like our friend Dean, his dad, huge Star Wars fan. Every time I go over to his house, he's like, Luke, I am your father. I'm like, well, you know my dad. You're actually mates, so you know we're not. You're not my dad. You're my mate's dad. No, he's a legend. But I like that's probably the most told thing to me is I am your father, and I'm always like, well. And you know who's never said that to me? My dad. Not once.
Oh, it's classic. Just go to the fictional character.
Describe the feeling when you won your first medal at the Paralympics.
Yes. Well, I haven't won one at the Paralympics yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, that was world champs.
But world champs gold medal is pretty much, well, I wouldn't know yet because I haven't done the Paralympics, but I would say it would be pretty equivalent, and that felt bloody good.
But there must be something a little more special. If you, I'm sure you will, and I believe that you honestly will win a medal at the Paralympics.
Yeah. No, that'll be definitely big.
And there's got to be something. I know you're representing your country at the world champs, sure, but it's very individual.
Yes.
But you're representing the country.
Oh, Paralympics is what people know.
Exactly.
People like whenever they ask, what are you training for? Even before world champs, it's the Paralympic Games.
Yeah.
People locally here, like that's, they don't necessarily know about what my world champs, but they'll definitely know about Paralympic Games leading up to it. Like it's the thing people look to. Like no one, as you said, no one really follows swimming or athletics in the interim years between the games. So that's definitely a big deal. World champs in 2019 was pretty cool because we got robbed in Spain a week before.
That's such a great story.
Yeah.
I mean, good now in hindsight. Terrible.
Nah.
You got your goggles. So you runs with like set of glasses, racing goggles. You got them stolen like 3 days out?
It was exactly a weekend, but we're in another country and all our bags got stolen. So phones, wallets, casual gear, racing gear for the champs, our racing shoes for the champs, my goggles.
Dude, that's so Spain.
And we did. Lucky our passports were back there, so we could still obviously get around. But had no phone or wallet and stuff like that, and that was intense. Like
in another country having no phone or wallet.
Yeah, like our car was completely smashed to pieces. Like it was a pretty, I was sitting in the gutter though, and it was pretty, my first thought was, oh shit, I haven't backed up any of my photos for a long time. That was my first thought. My second thought was,
What? Wasn't your first thought, oh no, the things I need to see during my
I
race?
forgot they were in there.
How do you get prescription, like really delicately custom prescription glasses just for you sent to another country within a week?
Well, I didn't. So this first world title, the 1500, I had to run without him, and I won my first world title racing without my goggles for the first time in my entire career. So
That's
that was
so cool.
scary. Yeah, and I won the race by 0.1 of a second. This big Russian guy was chasing me down right at the end, and I held him off. And like, there's heaps of videos.
That'll get me moving.
Some
big Russian
man.
bloke.
There's like I could hear him coming, and like, I there's heaps of videos on my Instagram. I like look across, realize that I'm still in front, and like, basically it's hard to describe in words, but there's just photos of me, videos of me, like, and basically it's like the coolest thing I've felt in like an instantaneous kind of moment. Like, it was just insane. But yeah, goggles came for the next race a week later. My girlfriend, who was coming for the second race, she could bring them over. They were custom made in like Perth or something.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but like that was like they had to very much get bumped up the.
Yeah. I forgot that you ran. I think I watched that race.
I look completely different without him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not even going to do this. Embarrassing.
Do it.
No.
Oh, no, you don't have to. Yeah, you do look quite different without your glasses.
I just realized I'm sure my glasses are probably really dirty because everyone always says your glasses are dirty, but I can't see. Like I can't see the dirt. Like it's just
that pisses me off about my glasses. I'm always like cleaning them and stuff.
Man, like mum, like it's the classic thing. I walk in, mum goes, "Man, your glasses are like really dirty. How can you see anything?" And I go, "What,
like, mum,
like
don't be rude."
Dude, the blur, is worse than the finger.
Even your mum forgets sometimes. Like, Jaryd, how can you see? Whoa, sorry, mate.
It's classic.
That's awesome. All right, we'll do one more question and then we'll wrap it up. This is a great follow-up. Where does Jaryd think his stolen goggles are at this moment? What do you reckon
Who's done that? Do I know them?
Groovy Angel?
Oh, yeah. Where do I think they are? Well, our shoes, my mate Tim, who I've mentioned before, he got a message a little bit, it was like 6 months to a year later going, "Hey, I found your shoes in my dad works as a street cleaner and he's found them. Would you like them back?" And Tim's like, "Nah, that's like totally a scam because there's no way shoes would just chill out on the street for 6 months."
I mean, Spain's a crazy place.
I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe
know.
they're in this street sweeper's house and he like wears them now. I don't know.
That's so weird. It's so disrespectful. I don't know, like, I'm trying to put myself. I remember when you guys posted about this, like, you stolen everything, and I was like, oh my God, this is so. I was like, everyone was freaking out. Like, we all were freaking out at home, like, no, Jaryd's not going to be able to run. This sucks. And putting yourself into, like, the mind of, like, a robber. Obviously, you're a bad person, but imagine seeing, like, some goggles that clearly you have no use for. Like, phone and wallet, sure, I get.
They're heavily prescription goggles,
Yeah, but, like, it's hard to, imagine they'd be hard to move on the black market. Like, not a lot of people have use for them.
Nah.
Just leave those.
Yeah.
Like, take the
Chuck 'em
other
out.
expensive stuff. Just, I have no use for this.
Chuck them out, yeah.
I was about to say just be a good bloke, but I guess they're robbing a car, so they're not good blokes.
Yeah.
But, all right, that wasn't really a good question, actually. Marathon, done that. Bix, that was a strong question.
Yeah.
Everyone's just roasting me about this. I think that's about it.
Roasting it, yeah, good.
Yeah, it's a lot of
That's a
people
good way to
just roasting me about, oh, man, this is the best guest you'll ever get. Enjoy it. Well, mate, thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me on. It's been good.
Mate,
I can't
appreciate
believe
it.
it's an hour and a bit. Jeez.
I know, it's been such a great time. Oh my God, an hour and 15. This is the Luke Kidgell hour and a quarter. Well, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Any final words, anything to plug? Follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram. It's probably the main one.
You write some articles.
Oh, yeah, sometimes, yeah. there's stuff on the web. Follow me on Strava or get Strava.
Or if you actually need anyone to do like a speech, you do speeches at schools
public
and
speaking,
stuff, right?
yeah, schools,
Public speaking.
yeah, anything like that. Get in touch. I do heaps of that stuff, and it pretty much broad range of different things, almost anything. So,
Yeah, and he's very good at it as well.
I try.
Yeah.
I try. I don't have to do it every night, so.
Oh, all right, mate. I'm not a hero. Okay, stop. I appreciate you trying to pump me up, but what I do is not hard.
Go to Luke's show, but I feel like I don't need to plug that.
Yeah,
to Luke, you know. Yeah.
All right, come to see my show, and thanks, Jaryd. That's so rude plugging my show when you're here.
No, do it.
See you later, legends. Bye.
See ya.